ESL One Katowice 2018. Live coverage coming from the Spodek Arena, and we are in our semi-finals. One game down, Liquid find themselves with plenty of questions to answer as they come back for the second draft. Just before they come back for the second draft, just a quick reminder that we have the Play Faster moment by Vodafone to come a little later on. Wonder what will feature inside that. Maybe it'll be the speedy panel that we've got. Or not?
No.
No?
No.
No. You guys are definitely not going to fill. You're not going to feature in the Play Faster moment. Sorry, guys. It's just not quick enough.
filled for quite a while.
If it was Fill Faster by Vodafone, you guys would be rocking it right now. You'd be MVPs. You'd all be going home with Mercedes-Benz.
I would love for that to happen.
I don't think that's part of the criteria. Let's look forward, gents, to the second draft. Lots of questions for Liquid to answer now, isn't there? And it kind of puts them on the back foot in the draft. How do they bounce back?
I think their draft was actually it was pretty okay. I think it was more just the decision-making in-game where it felt like they rushed things. But I think the draft overall was fine. They just...
I don't mean that the draft was bad in the first one, just that it's given them more issues now because Vici have shown they can play against what they've just thrown at them.
Yeah, I think...
Less options, perhaps.
Look, I would love for them to ban Naga Siren.
Yes,
yeah.
Seriously,
that is the one
I think that hero
yeah.
just gives you way too free team fights.
Yeah, it took them 3 games to ban that, Kevin, in the first series, didn't it? They've got to knock it out now, surely.
I think they at least were able to beat it in the lane. Like, that's what they proved with the Chen. But by the time they got to the mid game, and once they made that one mistake, all of a sudden Naga just really pulled her weight for the rest of the fight and the rest of the games.
Here it is, draft number 2, and we do get a ban on the Liquid side as long as with a Bane. And no surprise to see the IR, that's 5 consecutive games against Liquid, they've banned that.
And that was actually another significant thing about the Batrider, is that his lasso was instrumental in locking down Brood in a couple of those fights. They traded lasso for Aegis, and in a couple other fights they lassoed him while they killed him pre-BKB. It was actually really significant despite losing the lane.
And it was such a strong start to every single team fight, being able to get the lasso into the pull of the Death Prophet, who has Exorcism out at that point in time, sets you up for a Spirit Siphon, maybe a Silence as well. It was just like every single team fight started, like every single one that they won, which is toward later into the game. It was like such an amazing start for them because of the Batrider. In fact, Fog specifically ended that cast talking about the fact that, look, the combination here just seems too good by Vici game.
I think that Vici is playing like how normally Liquid plays, in the sense that they're not getting rattled. It's the enemy team that normally makes these crucial game mistakes against Liquid because they're afraid to play against them. Well, Vici, it feels like they're willing to take every single fight, and they're not scared at all. Like, they don't care about the hole or the deficit that they're in. They just continue to battle. I really like that overall from them. And I think that Liquid has to be a little bit more patient this time around. Like, the general rule of thumb, of course, you shouldn't always follow this though, is the first Aegis is meant for map control, so that you don't have to force things. You don't really have the items to go high ground quite yet. The second Aegis with the cheese is generally where you want to go for the high ground after that.
We don't even see teams like Complexity, who are kind of known for trying to force things. Even they chill out on the first Aegis, so it was pretty surprising that Liquid were kind of ensnared.
I feel like if EG didn't 2-0 those teams in record times the other day, I feel like Liquid would have cooled their jets. Like, they saw other teams stomp, they're very confident because they're so talented. They had such an advantage, they felt the advantage, they really thought they could take the push. I feel like it was something like that.
Yeah. Really like how far this Vici squad has come since like the beginning of the year where they got 2-0'd by SG.
Yeah.
And now they're in a position where they could potentially just 2-0 Liquid, get to the finals of their... I mean, how many times in a row have they been in a finals and lost?
They've been in 3.
They've been in 3.
During the DPC, yeah.
So the talent is clearly still there.
Yeah, they've always just fallen a little short at the end of a tournament.
And they're not drafting too differently here. They open Elder Titan, they let the Naga go through, and they'll grab a Viper.
So do you think, Kevin, that's like, again, to address the laning phase and how to beat the Naga Siren? So instead of Chen, we're going to have ET. It is one of those heroes that definitely wins you lanes.
Yeah,
but the Chen wasn't too bad in the first game, in the laning stage, was it?
But Chen falls off. You know, Chen in late game is not so good. Chen, at most, could send somebody back and then be like, all right, kill me next, let my allies go, please. But Elder Titan at least can win the lane. It's not as convincing as Chen. It doesn't allow you to push and disable as hard, but he can definitely outbully the Naga Siren. He can also provide a really strong team fight and anti-team fight, which is something you might need against Naga.
Is the fact that they haven't banned the Naga suggestive, perhaps, Will, that they feel like whatever they play in place of Naga is worse?
Yeah, I think they think that Naga is not the problem.
Right.
And the crazy thing is if they lose to it again, that would be, I think for a lot of fans, they'd say like, well, why didn't you just take out the Naga? But I don't know how, like, this is something that you probably have to talk to Kuro directly to like figure out why they think what's happening is happening.
And I'm not saying Kuro is this way, but captains do have that blind alley they go down sometimes saying, it's not that, it's not that,
Yeah.
it's not that. And it just becomes one of those things that you just can't move past, doesn't it, sometimes?
Oh, for sure. And that's something that all fans should know, is that it's never as clear as just like, oh, this hero is in and it's the consistent factor, so that's why they lost. Like, these guys are really good at evaluating most of these games. But of course, they're not infallible, and the great captains especially are very prone to this kind of stubbornness.
And again, they get the gyrocopter. Good BKB core, which I think is pretty important here. Again, we talked about the timing of Vici Gaming and the Chinese teams in general. They get the Death Prophet again.
Run it back. Woo.
Yeah,
Same
wow.
game.
This is basically 3 games out of the 5 they've played at this event. They've started with the same 3.
Okay, well, there's no initiator that gives you the same kind of advantage that Bad Rider does with the Death Prophet. So at least that part of the strategy will be a little bit worse.
Yeah, that's basically what they've identified here, isn't it? Pull the bat out, it doesn't have the same effectiveness.
Are they going to brood again?
Yeah, well, why not? The brood wasn't the issue, was it?
A little, maybe. But
Yeah,
not
I mean,
really,
like
no.
like you pointed out in terms of itemization and timing and what have you, but early game it certainly wasn't.
The problem with like items like rushing butterfly and stuff is it doesn't really, at that phase of the game, it's so early, it doesn't feel like it makes as big of an impact.
Just give him a Jakiro this time round.
It's
They've
like
got a building.
It's like an attack speed and armor and evasion item. That's better when you have more HP.
Oh, they're gonna go Disruptor.
Yeah. You know what game that reminded me of? That I don't know if you guys remember. It was Fnatic versus Liquid at TI6. They were really far ahead in game number 2, and they had like a Sven lineup against Dro, and they had an Axe. And instead of going for BKBs, like both MC and Matama Man decided to go like Heart and stuff.
Yeah.
And they just got crushed in every single one of those
They're
fights.
like, we'll get those later game BKBs.
Yes.
Those are the real game winners.
Just one more damage item. This will be okay.
Okay, so
We'll just kill him faster.
would you have still been fine if Disruptor was on Vici Gaming here?
Yeah. I
So
would.
you're still set on that, like, it's fine, you've got Viper.
Yeah. I like Disruptor a lot though against Naga. It's like one of the best.
Yeah.
How about the clock?
The clock, it matches up really well against the Elder Titan and the Viper. It's pretty annoying to play against, but it's meh against the Disruptor. Although it cancels the Jug.
It's a big Fenrir.
Isn't it kind
Hero.
of bad against Viper? Why do you think it's good versus Viper?
It's okay. You force him to get like 4 staffs.
I feel like Viper has plenty of money to spend though. Like he got SNY last game. I'm like, does that even help? I don't know. Might as well have been a Hurricane Pike.
Yeah, Pike would have been really nice that game.
At the least, it could threaten Viper getting killed easily in a 1v1. I think is one dangerous part. But later, yeah, I agree. It's not. Clock's just okay against Viper.
And we haven't actually talked about, is this Clock the other support? They just run it
You would think
kind
so.
of
They
4 or 5
usually
positions.
run it as a 5.
Yeah, I think there's no way that's off lane.
Lanham has played it a little bit. Fenrir's played it a little bit. In
That-
fact, Fenrir's played quite a lot.
That's so cool, by the way. Like with Vici, Mikasa's just sitting in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just
And telling
controls-
everyone to shut up while he decides the bans.
We were walking by their thing, and he has like a laptop set right in front of the players, and they pretty much just watch him the entire time, and he's just pointing at various things, saying like, "Look at this."
A jug for Liquid now. Interestingly, it was this game last series they played each other that Vici Gaming pulled out the jug, and Paparazzi had an MVP performance on it.
Yeah, Jug's very good against Gyro at most stages of the game because Gyro usually rushes the fast BKB. Omni Slash cuts right through that, so that can be a nice advantage. Same against Death Prophet if she doesn't have Euls.
And that's exactly what Vici did to Liquid last time, because it was Liquid that had the Gyro Disruptor ET.
Do you think
And Vici used the jug.
are we set that this is a mind control last pick, or are they going to give like Miracle a different last pick?
I think that's a miracle jug. I think you give Mind Control more of a playmaker than you do in the Viper last game.
He seemed to do fine, but yeah, I agree.
I mean, this is just like, if they pick up their offlane mind control hero, it's just a whole lot of fighting, not necessarily a whole lot of tower taking possibilities here, and they're just like directly contesting Vici Gaming.
Like, the way that I see Liquid's lineup is they're picking a very similar draft. They're just focusing it a bit better for teamfight and late game.
Yeah.
Like, Jug can win the early game and push really hard with Healing Ward. Viper can win his lane, push, but the supports are more teamfight focused, so I figure you grab a ganking off lane, something that can set up those late game kills. Because they don't really have a good initiator. Okay, completely wrong. Win the lanes and push, I guess.
It deals direct pure damage against that Gyrocopter. Hates that.
Yeah.
Hates it. Death Prophet can at least like Yule Scepter for a little bit when it comes to that single target focus.
She's pretty vulnerable too. Like, there's not very high HP heroes on Liquid. In a lot of the games, we've seen like tanky strength heroes against Death Prophet, but now it's mostly agility heroes. The only tanky one is really Viper.
Yeah. What do you take here if you're Vici? You take like NP or something to try to...
What about Ursa? Can they fit that in any way?
Offlane Ursa?
Works good against Viper, against Enchantress, against Elder Titan.
I thought you would just give more sustain to your Death Prophet and Gyrocopter against this single target focus of Liquid.
Oh.
And aye.
So it is
switch.
offlane clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, has to be.
Or
Fenrir is
could
the
be Naga.
only AA player in the team. So that will be an offlane
Ooh.
by the looks of things. Your friend
That's
11
interesting.
will be clocking it up, Cap.
I always
has that
like him on like super aggressive heroes. I don't like him so much on like the Enigma, like
Yeah.
slower, like
Yeah.
big. I want him.
You want
like,
something in their face.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
he is sick in that regard.
Okay. Kevin, which way are we going?
I think I'm going to go with Vici Gaming again. I am not the biggest fan of Enchant, and Liquid has very few stuns.
Okay. Blitz.
I'll go Liquid again.
Okay.
Vici Gaming, similar reason to Kevin. I feel like there is actually so much magic damage they can lay into this Enchantress. They're going to shore it up with Elder Titan, but I just don't have faith.
Okay, all right. Well, you do have faith because he's on the right team. We are headed back to our commentary duo who are ready to bring you our second game in the semi-finals. You ready for this, gents?
Absolutely. You know, game one, we saw sort of the power of Vici Gaming. Game two, as I said, I'm expecting Liquid to sort of step it up to another level. They got beat down pretty hard after what was a dominant laning stage in game one. So this game two, they've changed it up. What do we reckon, Fog? Do you like what approach Liquid's taken this time?
Yeah, I do like what their approach is. They're looking more to pressure the lanes more and have a bigger advantage. They didn't go for this cheese this time around, and they did heavily focus on 11. I think he was the biggest problem in that last game. They also thought the same thing. They give them the Naga, they give them the Gyro, they give them the Death Prophet, but they took out the Bat Rider early on. So I'm actually looking forward to see what 11 can make happen as this clockwork.
Absolutely. One of these offlane heroes that we sort of see be very hit and miss. A lot of people, a lot of pros favoring it in the position 4, but as you said, with the way that the draft went, VG maybe potentially feeling this was one of, or if not obviously the best option in their mind left in the offlane pool for 11 to get his hands on.
It is that super aggressive fight starter. So a little similar to the Bat Rider, you're not about mispositioning them, but you're about just engaging and starting those fights. And you're always going to get something in the offlane is the nice thing. You can cog block the wave, and you'll be able to get a decent spot for yourself to get an actual position and get some farm for yourself in levels.
But the thing as well, of course, for VG, last game, they got the victory this game. They do have 3 at the same people on the same heroes, the Paparazzi Gyro, the Lanham Naga Siren, and the Ori Death Prophet. Obviously a bit of a different game, Liquid changing things up quite a bit. They do have more potential for those team fights now with Kuroki and GH having a much heavier team fight presence with the Disruptor Elder Titan combo.
Yeah, I see Liquid this time, and I'm like, all right, this time they're not just trying to cheese their way to victory. They're going to just try to outskill them. And we've seen Liquid at their top performances. They are absolutely incredible. But Vici's been putting up unbelievable fights.
Yeah, this is what we want to see. We want to see Liquid tackle VG Gaming head on with some
Hell
proper
yeah.
Dota 2, and we've certainly got it with these lineups. You can expect a lot of battling, a lot of fighting. We'll see how much sort of contest we see over getting favorable lane matchups. At the moment, nothing really too surprising from Liquid.
11's going to try to just pull the wave here. Got to be a bit careful. He actually goes for the Rocket Flare level 1 to pull the wave.
I'll go for the kinetic field to hold him back some time, but of course won't put a stop to the way that 11 will still be able to get the full pull and get that entire creep wave round to his safety.
Yeah, it seems like they were just like, you know what, it's a clockwork, 760 HP, even with spin, even with any type of harassment, they can't kill him. So Kuroki's just going to follow him, give him some annoyance, and Miracle's just going to last hit under the tower.
So looking at the other lanes as well, any lane in particular that they think a certain side's going to struggle?
Mid we've seen is kind of a trade between the Viper and the Death Prophet. DP just is hard to gank. So I think the top one, the Gyro in theory should struggle. The Gyro and the Nagasarn if they start getting chased out too far.
Top
GH
lane.
has to be careful here.
They do. They've got that chilling touch here, and with the root control as well, they surround him. That's your first blood for Vici Gaming.
Don't think he expected the level 1 net.
Absolutely not. Normally that Riptide being held onto by the Nagasarn, but Lanham there with the outplay.
Yeah.
Has the required skill, the required time in that.
And also a really excellent approach coming out from Vici is blocking that hard camp. This is something that we've seen time and time again, is when you're playing versus that Enchantress, the best way to deal with it is to block that camp. And also, not even just versus the Enchantress. A lot of teams haven't really taken this approach, but versus the Elder Titan, if he doesn't have that camp to actually stack up and abuse the Spirit to get that damage, you're actually able to take such big advantage of the lane. So I really actually like this approach by Vici in the safe lane. So I do take back what I said, actually, and I think that Mind Control and GH will have some trouble here until GH starts to stack up the Astral Spirit.
Getting some of these stacks up, but so to build up that GH punch, as he will look to try and move around the lanes a little bit. Bottom lane, Miracle CS still pretty much perfect. 11 trying his best to disrupt it, and 11 is getting decent farm out of the lane himself, as we can see with that 9 to 5 on the clockwork. So those early level from that early level from the pull through, certainly helping out the clock keep good. Mid lane, the go being made up to Matsuma Man. The root comes in. Ori and Lanham close the gap. Fairy Fire will be popped. Is it enough to keep him alive? It's not. VG give themselves the second kill with the rotation of Lanham. And in a lane where Matsuma Man was already suffering, 14 to 6 against the 7 for 1, and it's one of those awkward positions because last game we had Mind Control Viper mid, and I'm pretty sure he was actually trading even CS.
He was dead even.
Yeah.
The Death Prophet.
Matsuma Man struggling there in the 1v1.
Getting the double null on Ori this time around, giving higher base damage.
They are going fully in onto Paparazzi. They've got that enchant slow. GH coming in with the right clicks. Paparazzi will be brought down. Now they turn their attention towards Fenrir, but Lanham's there with the root, holding GH down. GH trying to get himself into the tree line to safety. Will escape, has the salve, as he gets himself back up to full health. Will be cancelled by the illusion. He's coming back in. He's looking towards Fenrir, trying to punch this AA down. One more touch from Mind Control will do it, but Mind Control is rooted up. Kuro's come in to try and help out Mind Control. They've got the Astral. They look for the sleep stop. They catch both, giving time for Liquid to attempt to disengage, but the TP across from Fenrir. He's back in the game. Looks towards Kuro. Kuro with a quick glimpse back, taking Fenrir back up to that top lane. Kuro's now surrounded by Ori. They have the kinetic field down for Kuro, trying to get himself out of there, but the damage is too much. He'll lose his life. Mind Control has the sad eyes, looking towards Lanham. Lanham will be able to get himself away.
Kuroki makes the approach and just decides, I'm not punishing this clockwork at all bottom. I'm just going to leave Miracle in a 1v1 and pressure the other lanes. Got to make up for the rotations that Lanham's been doing. And they were actually able to take a little bit of advantage and go for that paparazzi dive because they did stack those camps. So the Astral starts adding up, and they were able to actually find that one creep for Mind Control, that Wildkin, to make the difference.
Mind Control now able to get a bit of CS as he looks to try and close the gap. Another blast onto Fenrir, bringing that AA down low. Kuro was looking for the glimpse play.
Once they get more levels on the Enchantress and the Elder Titan, it starts to become a much safer lane for them to pressure paparazzi.
And they're looking for the setup onto Mind Control. They have got the homing missile inbound. Lanham looking to close the gap with the root. The kinetic field's down. We'll put a bit of a stop to VG's play, and GH is there as well. He'll turn towards the three of them, looking for the setup with the Storm. Has found the vision onto Fenrir. They'll get the glimpse back. They surround the AA. They punch down one, but the play's coming back from Paparazzi. Rocket Barrage. Enough to dispatch of GH. VG find the 1-for-1 trade. Support for a support. Overall, though, that main sort of play benefiting Liquid. The disruption, it's slowing down the farm once again for the Gyro. Sure, we saw last game Paparazzi making the recovery. He's certainly going to have to do so again, as bottom lane, Miracle against this clock, having no trouble, finding pretty much free farm. 30 CS on this jug at the moment at 5 minutes in.
Levin's finding a lot, though. He's going to have a very early level 6 on this clockwork. I believe he's getting close to phase boots, or he already has phase boots as well on the clock. I think they're flying out around on the courier, though. Yeah.
Top lane, Lanham. Got the vision on Sakura, root as well, buying time for the cold feet to kick in. Paparazzi's there with the wraparound to pick up the glory. Gets the kill. This combination, this Lanham Fenrir, AA, Naga Siren being very active very early on.
Yeah, 2-2-2 on the AA, 1-0-4 already on Lanham. And constantly putting vision up. That was the biggest thing for me in the last game in particular, was the way that Vici was able to just fight around their vision constantly. And they are actually able to spot out that Liquid puts a ward up top with their first initial one.
I mean, I guess the question is, as well as you say, 11, he's had this fantastic farm down on the bottom lane as this off-lane clockwork. Is he just going to be full-on looking for the plays now? Level 6, who do you ideally want to be finding now as this clock?
The Viper. You can transition into a push too. We see that Ori has skilled up the Exorcism, so they could easily look for a dive play here. KuroKy is in position for it though.
Yeah, we'll be there ready to quickly glimpse back the clock.
They're pushing in the wave heavily though. They lose the siege creep, but they're still looking to get aggressive.
Let's see if they can find the angle. Matsuma Man is going to get run out here with the battery assault. 11 saving the hook shot so that he can go back in after he's glimpsed out of the play. They do find the 3-man sleep though. TP's coming in, Miracle with the Blade Fury turning towards Ori, looking for the chase down onto this Death Prophet. He's going to jump in instantly with that Omni Slash as he pops the mango, has the mana for the ult. They get the trade there, a mid for a mid between these two teams. But overall, I think Liquid, they'll be slightly happier there as they do shut down that Death Prophet after she's popped the Exorcism.
15 seconds into the Exorcism as well. And now this gives space to Mind Control because the way that the Naga Siren's been running around the map all the time, Enchantress is able to get so much top because of those high levels in Untouchable and high levels in heals. Once the level 6 comes out, Paparazzi's going to be really in some trouble.
GH back up here, ready to put the pressure on. You've also got Kuro back in the neighborhood, looking for potential wraparound. They'll go for the sleep setup onto Fenrir, but not looking to dive in as of yet. Mind Control, a few creeps away from having that 6, then he can look to start to get more aggressive. Bottom lane.
Miracle's looking for him.
Nice. He won't be able to find. 11, TP's out. Unbeknownst to Miracle, as Miracle didn't quite have the vision for him, but a quick sweep of the tree line will confirm the suspicions that 11 has backed out of the lane.
11's just relentless in this series. Again, he instantly has Clockwork Hook shot up. He instantly TPs to the shrine. He's looking to get aggressive and punish top lane.
Look at top. They've already got a homing missile on Mind Control. This wraparound coming in indeed from 11. Looking for the rundown onto GH. He now makes a beeline straight away for Mind Control, trying to cause issues for this Enchantress. The cold feet kicks in. Paparazzi's still alive. Shunting down to the Thunderstrike and will do. They lose the gyro, but VG, they find the Enchantress in trade. 11 looking for the chase down. Still has that hook shot. They found the vision onto KuroKy. The sleep stop though from GH holds back 2 of them. Ori's still trying to dive. There's the hook shot from 11. They close it onto Kuro, and look at 11. He's already looking to try and sweep around for GH, but GH too speedy. GH will make it away. Bottom lane, Miracle continues to farm. Quick TP back into the game from Paparazzi as he heads down there to put a stop to this push. Ori being watched by GH.
They're putting a lot of pressure on Paparazzi, just like the last game. You see he's bottom 5 net worth already in the game. It's going to be all up to Ori and 11 to really make the moves and just catch that gyro back up or getting through those team fights. You see them now moving the DP a little bit and actually having Naga take mid to get some levels.
I mean, so far so good from 11. These rotations on the clockwork being very, very nice. And we're seeing as well just sort of the composure. He runs in, he doesn't blow the hook shot at this start. He makes sure that he can save that until the very end of the gank to sort of help find that second kill. Now he has got the urn done.
It's really smart the way he's been saving the hookshot, just like you said in the mid lane. He's waiting for those glimpses, those ways to kind of mess his movement up so they can close the gap afterwards.
Miracle down bottom. He has got the invis and he also has the Omni Slash. They're looking for a target. The big one would be Paparazzi. There's the glimpse, trying to let Miracle close the gap. There is a creep wave, so Miracle will wait for that, but the invis wears out. Paparazzi knows what up. It might not save his life, though. The Blade Fury clearing down these creeps, bringing them down low, and Paparazzi separated, and there's the jumper with the Omni Slash. The bounce isn't good. Miracle will find the kill. The root comes out, but GH is there with the sleep to hold back Lanham. Healing ward as well up for Miracle. So Liquid will stand strong and get away with that kill.
Paparazzi's really sad in this game. He has to pretty much come back through team fights now in this game, because the way that all the lanes are set up, he doesn't really have a home.
Top lane.
Up now, though.
11 straight in with the control. Mind Control, he's stuck. The cold feet's going to kick in. The pushback from the cogs. The slow but sure slap down with the spanner from 11 finishes him off as this clock continues to make the plays. Then Ori. Straight in, Viper Strike from Matsuma Man. He's looking at manning up. They have got the Blade Fury damage as well. Yeah, Miracle with this haste rune just zipping straight into the middle lane. Takes down Ori.
And he runs right back bottom.
Clarity back ticking up as he looks to refuel himself. Miracle certainly stepping things up this game. 4.8k top net worth at the moment on the board.
They're just looking to continuously punish this gyrocopter. Look at mid. Disruptor's already here for the glimpse.
He's found the setup here, straight back into the stomp. There will be the cooldown coming out just in time, but the damage from Matsuma Man and Kuro is too much. Paparazzi will fall yet again, the 4th time on this gyrocopter, as Liquid continue to punish the carry.
Non-stop bullying.
Tries to go for this smoke there to create that extra bit of speed, but it gets dispelled immediately. Kuro, I don't think he's getting out of this one. He hasn't got a TP. Lanham and Ori will be there. So Kuro will fall quite deep behind enemy lines. Will try his best to spend up before he goes down. Top lane mind control, continue to farm, of course going straight for the 4-star in this game against 11's Clockwork.
When Fenrir's got 6, they've got the kill here.
Oh, and straight in. They've got the setup. Hook shot. There's the Ice Blast flying in onto mind control. No sort of heal's going to save him. And again, these sort of combos, whether it be between Fenrir and Lanham or 11 and Fenrir, they get the job done every single time. Okay. Stomp not going to quite catch on to Ori. Miracle, he has got the Omni Slash back online once again.
They've definitely still got some Jug and Viper problems. They're at top of the net worth board, and Paparazzi still not even close to being recovered.
And Miracle, of course, with his phase, Yasha and Tequila before getting the Battle Fury, giving him this potential to fight at this stage. And quite the potency. Anyone that he jumps on with a quick Omni Slash and then the movement speed with the Blade Fury chase down thanks to that Yasha phase boost, he's going to find the kill. Ori,
Mid lane.
he's going to be jumped on straight away. Miracle just playing so aggressively here. This Jug utilizing his advantage. Vici, they have got the wrapper and they've got 4 heroes here. But quick with the Blade Fury, Miracle just starts to chase down 11. They've got the Stomp already into the Static Storm. They're managing to set up and surround Lanham on the Naga Siren, who will fall as well. The Viper Strike slows still onto Paparazzi. The glimpse from 11 taking him to the side. The Clockwork's in trouble. They will throw the Ice Blast down to Miracle. Miracle will fall. 11's still alive for now, but Timmerman and GH trying to focus both Fenrir and Paparazzi. 11 will learn up. They'll actually keep the rest of them alive, and now Vici, they're looking for the turnaround. Homing missile, cold feet onto Matumberman. Ori's back in the game. He has the silence of the GH before the Stomp comes out. Vici, they'll turn the play around mid.
They catch Paparazzi back up heavily, needing those 2 kills. 24 kills in 13 minutes.
And it's this sort of coordination that brought Vici back into game 1.
Yeah.
Team Liquid, they've got to be scared of these sort of plays coming through because Vici are so damn tight with that team play.
Yeah, they have to be careful of. They have to be really careful of the comebacks because of the low respawn times that are at 13 minutes. They actually ran out of mana on Matu there, and they find a solo pick off there from Fenrir.
Kuro just getting caught out multiple times now as he tries to come out for these warding missions. He's got to be careful. 15 to 10. Liquid still with the net worth lead. As you can see, all 3 cores of Liquid ahead, and Miracle very much so, as he still leads with a sizable advantage to the top core of VG's lineup on this Juggernaut. And that last death that he had in the mid lane, a little bit painful.
Yeah, Liquid's gonna have to itemize with multiple 4-staffs here to deal with this Clockwork because he's been having a great time. And it's gonna be a really good 4-staff game anyway, because if you look at Vici's side, they don't really have a whole lot of disable besides that Clock. It's Clockwork, Hookshot, and Naganet, and besides that, their catch is pretty minimal.
11 on that hunt, but knows that the 4-star is now there on mind control, so we can no longer sort of go for that Hookshot Ice Blast play with the tag team of Fenrir to get that kill. Mid lane Miracle, Omni Slash back up in a couple of seconds. He is nearing on hitting that level 12, so ideally would do so before the fight kicks off, but the fight's already here. They've got the setup, the sleep, the Death Prophet Exorcism coming out as well. Ice Blast thrown down straight away onto Matumberman. He's trapped there, but Miracle, he gets the chance for the Blade Fury. He's looking for the chase down onto Paparazzi. Paparazzi will fall. Miracle, he levels up the ult, jumps in with the Omni Slash, the extra bounces, getting in the kill on Ori. They've got the stop down as well. Fenrir will fall. Miracle will lose his life. But Liquid, they've found 4, they've got the glimpse back, they're going to find 5. 11 tries to TP out, he's not making it home tonight, Liquid!
GH in the perfect positioning there. Everybody slept on the side of Liquid, but GH says we've got that mechanic as well. Sleeps everybody on Vici. Him and Kuroki get the perfect setup in the back lines there, and they're able to turn the fight. Just like you said, Omni Slash gets leveled up at the last moment there from the kills. So he's able to get the extra bounces to finish up the kills there. Absolutely perfect there by Liquid.
We'll see it again. Just sort of this commitment at the
Stomp
start.
on 3.
It looked like it was going to be great for Vici, but not dispelling the song straight away meant that initial Ice Blast damage didn't hit onto the Viper, so Matumberman was safe. And look at Miracle's prioritization. Straight for Paparazzi, levels up the ult, jumps in those extra bounces, allowing him to get Ori. And then, as you say, Liquid's there with the backup. GH has got the setup, and then the fight's over.
And again, and this time they have the 4-staff, so they distance the Viper into the backside, so he's not able to get bursted down, and the whole fight turns around into Vici's face.
4K lead now for Liquid. Still though, a very close game in a match where VG, they have shown the potential with this team fight once again. But Liquid, 11 off the mark there with that hook shot. Matuma will get a free pass for now. But a lot harder for VG to sort of go for that team fight, as we're saying, with the Juggernaut. Really seems to be the crucial pick here. A hero that can react to that sort of setup. He's got the Blade Fury. He's got the ways to play around. Lots of damage coming out from Miracle. He's closing in on that Battle Fury.
It's a hero that's just so damn good versus Gyrocopter, because there's just nothing you can really do. If he just runs at you a spin, you just have to run away yourselves. Omni Slash, of course, is going to eat you alive. You kind of have to take a halt here until they've got Exorcism and Sleep available again.
Ideally, they want that BKB to be there on the jar as well, but that is going to have to take quite a few more moments for Paparazzi.
I like the item adjustment by My Control this game, too. He's recognizing that Vici's damage is pretty much strictly magical besides Exorcism at this point because of how shut down Paparazzi is, so he's actually going for a BKB on Enchantress.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, who's going to right-click him? Sure, the flat cannon can still be a bit of an issue, but obviously with a jar at this stage of the game, there's no way that the right-clicks from him outdo the heals that the Enchantress is going to have from her attendants. And Emre, he's been caught out on his own. Will turn with a quick Ice Blast, but that will be the death of the AA. Ori actually trying for the counterplay here. He's chasing this with the Exorcism. The Crit Swarm bringing Matuma down low, but he can't quite get a lockdown. Matuma going to be able to get out of there. And that's Exorcism being blown, and it's not going to get anything productive done with it.
Kuro glimpsed 11 completely out of the fight there, too. So it looked like Vici was trying to set up, but their only real catch, like we're mentioning, it's majorly on 11 to make those plays. So as soon as Exorcism's popped, they have quite an easier way to disengage without that clockwork there in position.
That's that Battle Fury for Miracle. So already this Juggernaut that's a clear 3K ahead of the Paparazzi Gyrocopter. He's going to get even further ahead now as the farm will step up that extra bit more.
And they know Exorcism's down right now too, so they can take advantage of that. They can try to keep punishing Vici.
Smoke up, 11 will be found out. Kuro waiting for the perfect time to make sure that the control can be there to get him into the field, and he also knows that the song's coming through. There's the glimpse back, holding 11 close to the Juggernaut, not quite close enough. Vici, can they do anything off the back of this Sleep? It doesn't look like they can. The silence will come out to one Vici. They have Paparazzi heading forward. They're looking for Miracle, but Miracle turns with the Omni Slash straight into the midst of them all. And Miracle falling very, very low. Can Paparazzi get the kill? The Blade Fury and the Healing Ward. Miracle's still alive. And with a Sleep Stop for GH, they're looking for the turnaround. Liquid, they found two. They're trying for more 11s there with a hook shot. Will hold Miracle back. So Vici get the remainder out of there. A 2-for-2 trade there between the lineups. They couldn't quite find Miracle. That would have been such a beautiful kill for Vici to get, but they couldn't quite do it.
That low cooldown on spin, able to get it back up in the middle of the fight. And GH, again and again in these fights, he's getting the perfect sleeps on the three main heroes of Vici every single time, it seems.
And the Ancients being stacked up. I believe they've got a triple stack at least at the moment on Liquid.
Wow.
So more money for the taking, ready for Miracle.
Uh-oh, look bottom, 11. Rotation from MC.
He's on his own, Mind Control, gonna start punching into him. They'll get the 4-star play. They're trying to get Kuro out of there, but 11 will still find the kill. Costs him his life though. Gets the support, but loses his life there as the offlaner. The quick Hurricane Pike from Mind Control sort of buying the time for him to chase around Kuro and get that extra bit of momentum for him to punch back into him with the impetus. Miracle very close to having the ultimate orb on his way to the Manta style. And it'll be very hard to control in these fights. The route will not be much of an issue for that Juggernaut anymore.
They've had a hard time dealing with the Healing Ward too. Even though they've been getting the AA blasts in the starts of the fights, the fight continues on for so long that the Healing Ward kicks in after that debuff wears off.
Miracle on the hub. 12 seconds and Omni Slash will be there. He's got his eyes onto Paparazzi. He is playing incredibly aggressive, and he can certainly get away with it for the most part. Quick Blade Fury as that homing missile is no issue for the Jug. And Miracle's back out of that.
He was just in there by himself. Vici, they do have Exorcism now available again, and they are getting closer and closer to those BKBs like you were saying. The Gyrocopter, about 1,300 away. Ori, just about the same.
19 to 19, but that net worth difference certainly being the overbearing issue for VG. the fact that those cores of Liquid are really farming just that little bit better. This Juggernaut getting absolutely out of control.
Level 17 on Jug, level 13 Gyrocopter. Miracle having a tremendous game.
Now we'll turn towards those Ancients. We'll put him very close to having that level 18, that third point in Omni Slash. We've already seen how much these bounces do in the fight. Manta style complete as well for Jug. Everything's coming together. Vici Gaming, we've seen them turn around from a lot worse situations as we did in game one, so definitely still with a chance here if they can get that team fight together. Femre closing in on that level 12.
They have to heavily rely on the Exorcism in this game, though, because of Paparazzi being shut down. And this time they don't have, you know, Warlock ulti or anything like that to really just close that combo together. It's a lot harder for them to actually keep the heroes of Liquid inside of the Exorcism.
And look at that as well. They Rocket Flare Bro, so Vici know that Liquid's in there, and Liquid know that Vici know. But Liquid, they're standing their ground in the pit.
They're
Vici,
coming too fast. You know, GH also scouted them with the Stomper.
they've got it. There. They've got the Aegis into the hands of Miracle. It's gone. Nothing that VG could do to stop it, and now they're going to lose some members. Femre gets grabbed back, does get the Ice Blast down onto Free. The Femre gets chopped down. Miracle picking up more gold for his bank account. As VG just left to split up without their AA. That crucial Ice Blast that they require for these fights to be successful, they have to just wait and accept that these towers are going to be gone for the taking. Liquid.
They need to get like the perfect executed fights, but it's so difficult versus Liquid's hero with the innate Jug with spin, just being able to immune versus the majority of their catch. And they're soon going to have that BKB on the Viper as well as the Enchantress.
And the Jug pick really was
the Jug
a big
pick's
one.
really working so well.
A lot of the times as well, we see Jugs being drafted in situations where it just feels a bit off. It feels like a hero that sort of is a last resort carry, but this time you can absolutely see the vision when Liquid picked it, and so far it's absolutely working out.
In particular because of how active he's being on the hero.
Yes.
Sure, you saw he's gone for the Battle Fury build, but getting that Yasha early has led them to have so much momentum into now this mid game, where Vici, they're still just on recovery mode. They're so dependent on that Exorcism.
BKB on Ori. This was sort of picked up around the point where we really saw stuff change around in favor of Vici in game one.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he can do with that BKB when he turns up to the fights.
They've got the level 12 on Fenrir now too, so a bit more damage coming in their way. But still looking very hard to deal with just that. It's a majority of that Juggernaut. Everybody else seems like it's tolerable, but Miracle just on a different level this game.
Miracle is pushing out bottom on his own. Obviously, with that Aegis, very hard to punish Vici. They will go for the smoke play. Almost only going to sweep round behind. They don't want to necessarily go on the Jug. They want to try and find the backup that Liquid is sending in for the Jug.
The Spirit just hit somebody though,
knows.
so GH pings it out right away.
GH is fully aware of this. They're bringing TPs down bottom. Liquid, they probably want to take this fight if they could.
They have to bring everybody down here though. They don't want to take a number disadvantage. Not into Exorcism.
They're going for the quick sweep around as they did go for the scan. Saw that Vici came in and out of that area on the high ground at the dice half of the map. Wondered if they'd entered into the jungle, but as it were, Vici obviously aware that that Liquid knew of this movement. They just back off. They knew that they weren't going to find anything with that.
Liquid's playing very confident, pushing out all three lanes constantly. They're not letting Vici really group up and take that head 5v5 fight that they do want to go for now when they do have those fresh BKBs.
There's the Meteor Hammer. Now picked up it on the Naga Siren, so that combo, that setup, and we saw come into play, we have seen come into play many series beforehand. We will get to see once again today. It's Miracle, 500 gold, and he will have that butterfly complete. So as you can see here, Miracle getting the chance to hit creeps that much more, nearly twice the amount of gold that Paparazzi's been able to find from his own CSing.
Unbelievably farmed on this Jug. Vici a bit afraid too, still, because they're versus that Aegis. They don't really want to get caught off guard. They're all sticking as a unit, and because of that, they're falling further and further behind in both gold and experience. It's looking very hard for them to take the fights that they want.
I'm very close to that very sort of dawning point for Paparazzi's Gyro, where Miracle is about double the net worth.
Yeah.
One of those games where Miracle just goes absolutely off. He was not happy with that game 1, and he is very hungry to push this series to a game 3.
He's just walking up on the high ground by himself.
He's got the Aegis. He feels safe. He's
Calm.
got a
He's
full
calm.
one.
He's
He's got the
confident.
Manta. And he knows that Vici are going to be very cautious about jumping in on him.
Yeah. And he knows that they're very limited on disables, as we've been mentioning over and over again. Vici now, they're just kind of stuck in their base. You see Paparazzi, he's trying his best to find farm on the map. He's still very far behind, though.
A gift from the tempest of battle.
Paparazzi just slowly trying to shove those lanes out, but having to do, obviously, so much more cautiously than Miracle can get away with. As this Jara much more vulnerable to being punished by any sort of rotation.
This time, though, you can feel also Liquid, they don't feel as rushed in this game. In the last one, they got the Aegis and they went straight for the high ground and they got wiped. This time, they've got the Aegis. They're using this as a farming Aegis just to keep that advantage ticking forward more and more. They're now at a 13k gold lead, over a 10k experience lead as well. Aegis does get reclaimed. And Vici, they want to be able to get some catches with 11, but they're just really unable to at this point. He's playing a farming Clockwork where you don't really want to be doing that. When you're playing Clockwork, you want to be constantly looking for these kills, but because of how on the back they are, they can't really make these moves. Liquid just ready to respond constantly.
This certainly being one of the problems why, with the Clockwork in that sort of core position, as you say, not necessarily one of those offlaners that scales that great as the game goes on. You have to make those plays. You have to sort of get that overarching advantage very early. Otherwise, 4-star BKBs come into play and the clock can just be ignored.
And you can tell that Vici's really feeling the pressure and feeling under the gun. Paparazzi has queued up the Rapier.
He's queued it up. We'll see if he gets there. Would be quite something.
He absolutely needs it. They've got their only damage, like we've been saying, it's that Exorcism. Everything else is mostly countered by Liquid because they can just distance themselves and kite around that Exorcism.
BKB. It's pretty much done for Miracle. One more bounty rune, and Matuma will be gracious enough to let Miracle take it. And that will be the BKB done. Oh, he's changed it back, the Jara.
He did change.
He's got the butterfly queued up. Disappointment all round. We want to see that Rapier. And then 11 gets Tim's back. There's the quick play. Hookshot's back in. And after a bit of a dry patch in terms of kills, 11 will be finally there to break it and shed some bloodshed out of Kuroki's.
It had been quite a while, been almost 6 minutes since the kill actually happened on the board. It was just Miracle taking towers, is what it looks like.
Well, this sort of slow pace, as you say, though, definitely favoring Liquid's lineup.
Yeah, with their Tricore. Everyone's staying relevantly farmed too. Sure, you see Miracle skyrocketing at a portion where we don't see
pushing on his
besides,
own.
yeah, this looks like
He's
Alchemist
taking
levels
tier
of
3s on
farm.
his own.
But his other teammates, they're still keeping up in farm a bit. But yeah, this Jug is just
I mean, it really feels at this
unbelievable.
point, the rest of Liquid could sort of DC and let Miracle finish it. He's just that far ahead. The fact that he can go up and take a tier 3 without any sort of answer, like, the rest
It's
of
a
the team
problem.
have done his job. They've made that space for Miracle. You know, the fantastic sort of rotations and reactions to that of Vici's plays have led to the point where Miracle's just been allowed to get this incredibly massive.
It's Vici who had this type of juggernaut game during the group stages too, versus Liquid. Miracle's giving Paparazzi a taste of his own medicine.
And Miracle just keeping
Full
every
bash.
lane shoved out.
Full basher now too.
got
He's getting items pretty fast. He's almost 6 slotted
it
at
has
30 minutes.
to be one of the most farmed jugs in a while. 800 GPM, the pre-30 minute mark. This has got to be up there in the books as one of the best.
Yeah, and Vici, they're trying to catch back up. 11, he got that solo kill on the Disruptor, but besides that, they just seem a bit afraid to take the engagements, take those head-on fights. Ori is about to be level 18 for that level 3 Exorcism, but they really want Paparazzi to have that one big item because a phase BKB drum gyrocopter it's not threatening.
It does nothing against him. The Basher on its way out. Look at that. He may be level 23, but he says, guys, I need the tome. He's got that out coming to him. We'll see if he takes it. He might give it to someone else.
No, he takes it.
He wants to get that 25.
He wants that 25. He wants those Omni Slash strikes.
That's a lot of +5. That's a lot. That is a lot. Halfway through 24. He's going to get it very shortly as well at this rate.
It does look like Liquid is trying to take a fight here now with how strong Miracle is.
Let's see what VG can do. They've pulled off some phenomenal team fight execution in the past.
They still don't quite have the butterfly finished on Paparazzi. But they've got the level 18, they've got the level 3 exorcism on Ori, and he's pretty much got a Shiva's Guard if he can ever go out and buy it.
Can they kill this Jug? That really is the question. Paparazzi, always scared.
They don't
He's
have...
like, oh, the smoke's to the Dispel. But Matumba Man aware something's in there. I mean, it doesn't matter. Paparazzi will TP out immediately as soon as he sees Viper turn up to lane.
They have Miracle under vision here. This is their big chance here to try to go for something.
I mean, he's got Manta and BKB. Can they really do this? A quick patch onto the Naga. Lanham, he does have the song. If he needs it, they'll get the pushback, but Miracle pops the BKB. He's just going to turn and fight back into them. Jumps through. There's the Stomp as well, coming in for the sidelines, as the rest of Liquid are coming in to back up Miracle. The Earthsplitter comes out, takes down the Naga Siren. Miracle will heal himself back up to full after the Ice Blast wears off with that healing ward. They just can't kill this Juggernaut. He's got 25k net worth. He's got the same net worth as both Ori and Paparazzi put together almost.
They popped ghosts. They popped everything for that to try to bring him down, and they still couldn't. And now he's full health, and they're ready to push. No ghosts, and they've got the rest of their heroes now. It's not looking like Vici can stop this Jug.
Try their best with the cooldown to D-push. The siege creeps are still up there, removing that backdoor protection if Liquid want to go in. But looks like Liquid are going to respect them. Back off. Let's sort of Miracle refuel as he is low on the mana. Some big items coming out, though.
Committed for the B-fly, for the butterfly.
Anything will help that little bit for Vici at this stage. Shiva's Guard, as you say, finished Paparazzi. He has got the gold for the complete butterfly. So those items will be picked up for their 2 cores.
Second Roche, this is the one that Liquid wants to end the game on here, with the Aegis and the Cheese, with this level 25 Juggernaut.
I think VG feel they have to contest
yes.
this. They cannot hold a push against an Aegis Cheese lineup that Liquid have.
They don't have their Exorcism, though, for 60 seconds. That's their big team fight right here.
It's so hard for them to get in. Maybe they can go for a steal. At this point, if you can throw away the Clock's Life and get the steal.
All-time Juggernauts at this time.
I'm not surprised about that. This really is one of those games for the books from Miracle. He's played it absolutely perfectly. As I said, that game 1 definitely riled this boy up. He was so hungry for victory in this game too, and he's not been blinking at all. He's just fully focused, fully into the game. And this is Miracle playing at 110%.
Glimpse back the Naga, they pop the BKB, and they're able to get the Aegis and Cheese because of the
They
glimpse.
can't disrupt it. VG can't get in, and Lanham, he's trying for the TP out. There's the Stomp from GH. Lanham will fall. And with no Naga for 50 seconds, Song expended, as we just saw, but perfectly ripped away from them with the play. And at this point, Liquid, they're just going to A-click down the lanes. They do have the Ice Blast, the cooldown, the Butterfly, and the Gyro. Is it really enough, though? Miracle cuts his way through the cogs. Will A Fury to dodge that missile and straight in onto the racks. 11, quick with the 4-star to keep his distance. Siphon does bring Miracle down fairly low. Quick shove back, but he's got the healing ward. Viper's Strike comes in onto Ori. Matumba Man being focused by Paparazzi. They're bringing him down low, but the Cheese comes out. There's the setup. They move in. The Earthsplitter as well, ripping VG apart. 3-4. Ori, he's in trouble as well. The Crimson Guard, the Siphon, isn't enough. No, the impetus, pure damage. Fights through the guard, takes him down. GG is caught. Liquid, they woke up here in this game too. They showed they came here to play and will be pushing this series to a game 3.
This game was Miracle with no mercy whatsoever.
Absolutely not. As I said, this is Miracle playing at his full potential.
He was making the moves for his team too. He's like, all right, I feel like I need to make some roaming moves. He roamed, he got a haste from bottom, runs, kills Ori mid, runs back bottom, continues that farm.
Yeah.
He had an impeccable performance on the Juggernaut, and GH as well. His Elder Titan in that mid lane, in the mid lane multiple times, getting those 3-man stomps every single time to turn the fights around, where it looked like Vici was starting to be able to come back. They just kept saying, no, sorry Paparazzi, you're going to be under-farmed on this Gyrocopter, and we're going to take this.
And to sort of harp on that again, I think as you said, with this Miracle Juggernaut, sure, we sometimes see some high net worth Jugs, but it's been because, oh, they get a nice fast timing on the Battle Fury, oh, the team's creating constant space, the Jug's not been in the game at all. But that was not the case.
He was fighting.
Jug, he was in the fights, Miracle was there sort of 8 minutes onwards, making those rotations, and wow. What a game 2. Now, going into game 3, Vici Gaming, after seeing this, sure, surely one of the change-ups is going to have to be, you have to prioritize Miracle in this lane. You can't let him get this sort of start.
I think you can't let Miracle get this sort of start, and if they're gonna have this like Death Prophet, they have to have a lot of different ways to keep the fights around the DP. That's what I saw in the last one. They had this Warlock channeling upheaval. They couldn't run away from Exorcism. This time around, they only really had it. They were relying so much on Lanem and as well as 11, and 11 is playing a Clockwork. We don't really traditionally see this hero played so much in the off lane now again, so some adjustments definitely needed to be moving forward for this next draft.
Well, certainly the back and forth series that we'd hope to see. Vici Gaming showing us their potential in Game 1, and Liquid showing us theirs in Game 2. Who is going to come out in Game 3? I don't know. It's going to be absolutely amazing, I'm sure. We'll see very shortly.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, that is one of the big questions, but we've got a few other questions to ask about Game 2 before we get to Game 3. Back with our panel members. Kevin, we'll start with you. Where did it go wrong for Vici?
Miracle played the best Juggernaut game anyone has ever played, I'm pretty sure.
So outclassed. Let me
well,
hold on, because that's a big statement, Kevin. It was better than the Paparazzi game earlier in the tournament.
It's the most farmed Juggernaut at 30 minutes ever. Come on. Like, you can't even, like, don't even talk about MVPs. It's not even worth it. Like, most valuable player on Jug ever in a single game. Like, he played amazing. I think Vici Gaming's draft was pretty cool, and it worked out generally well. The Clockwork didn't necessarily, like, contest Miracle at all. That was maybe the one negative, but I thought Old 11 got a lot done. It just came down to every time the Jug went somewhere, an enemy hero died, and it was always an important one.
And they set him all up for that, right? Because they go for this aggro Trine lane, and they didn't really care. All right, we're trading kills, but we're getting a Jug, Miracle Jug, versus an offlane Clockwork. Like, you only survive in that matchup. You don't really pressure the Juggernaut whatsoever, and so they're just like, this is all space.
It kind of reminded me of EG's game number 2 against VP in the same way, that they aggro try, and it looked like EG was losing, but I think I said in the green, I was like, yeah, EG's going to win this game, even though it looks kind of bad. You're throwing bodies at a lane to secure another one, I think it's fine.
I think like one of the big fixtures of this tournament has been aggro dual lanes, and maybe one of the reasons that offlane heroes are picked later is because they want to make sure that they have a hero that can actually harass the offlane. That's why, or the carry as the offlane hero. That's why we're getting like last pick enchantresses and stuff like that. And even though MC did die a few times, he was always there, right-clicking the gyro, giving gyro bad game. And then if Miracle rotates like twice and gets gyro kills, then gyro has no farm and he can't compete. So I really, really liked how Old 11 played Clock. He was almost unanimously getting kills every time that he rotated, but Miracle just played too well. So my next thought was maybe they needed more armor on their cores. I mean, you could say maybe swap heroes. Maybe Death Prophet goes for a fast Veil build instead of trying to rush Yule. Something like that that would allow them to barely survive an Omni Slash, kill Miracle, and maybe win a team fight.
Was there anything they could have done differently in the early game, Vici?
Well, there was one really big trip up by them in the defending the mid-tier 1 tower. They ended up going for a sleep and got interrupted by GH's Stomp at the same time as they were throwing out Ice Blast. So they throw Ice Blast, does no damage because they're still asleep, and then they've kind of like completely bungled their whole entire initiation. I think that was actually one of I think that was the moment where I was like, oh, Vici Gaming lost. Like, once they bungle that one team fight, it felt like there was no real way for them to be able to recover, I think. Vici Gaming had to be able to keep up a very crisp game plan throughout the whole entire thing.
Yeah, well, in a positive assessment of Liquid, how different did they look this game compared to the last one?
Oh, a lot better. I think when you give Miracle the best hero in the game, he's always going to look like this. And I think that's been the key to when Liquid wins games, is that this guy, you have to let him shine. Like, you can't really coop him up on these heroes like Tiny. That's why a lot of teams, like, they might give their 1 position or their 2 position to Tiny. Oftentimes they give Mind Control that hero, and they give something that overwhelms on the side of Miracle. That's why, so far, I think he might be my MVP.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk about the man himself. Yeah, because on the first game, I think one of you, I can't remember who it was, but one of you said, you don't think Miracle looks comfortable in game 1.
Yeah. I mean, when he plays these heroes, like these Tinies and stuff, the ones that don't just like straight up end the game, I think he always looks kind of average. Like, right. You have to, I think his comfort zone is knowing like, okay, if I get farmed, I can carry my team. Like, when you put him into those kinds of positions, it feels like he knows exactly what to do. Whereas if he has to be like just kind of a cog in the machine, he feels a lot more awkward in that sense.
I think it's as well that Tiny doesn't necessarily provide strong carry potential. It's more of like a hybrid gank kind of thing. You look around, look for hero kills, be in the right place at the right time. He tried to go carry build, didn't work out. Tiny's not really in that kind of a hero position right now. So I think a hero like Jug, he can rotate and do these occasional ganks in between farming. That's exactly what suits him.
Yeah.
One thing I would say besides Miracle looking a little different is that Liquid as a whole, I thought were a lot more patient when it comes to ending the game. I thought they really made sure they built up their advantage. Part of it, though, is a different scenario, right? As Will said, best hero in the game, they actually had that late game scenario where they were like, we're fine if this, like there was no pressure for them to end out the game like there was, I felt like, in game number 1.
And what about this jug? We haven't seen a huge amount of it, but every time we've seen it, it feels like it's ridiculously good.
It's because the only time they're picking it up is late in the draft, and it's usually against like a gyrocopter or a hero that Omni Slash is very effective against. That's most of
As
it.
simple as that.
I mean, Spin is also very good. He's good at rotating.
Yep.
He's just weaker in lane generally. Like, he can help you get a kill, but it's mana reliant, long cooldown. So if he has a good matchup like he did, he can free farm and also rotate correctly because he's Miracle and he doesn't make very many mistakes, if any.
True.
And then, yeah, it gives you a big gold lead, transition to Battle Fury, then you become late game.
It's, I feel like very similar to the last pick, like Life Stealers. When there is a Life Stealer game, it's usually a really good Life Stealer game because similar situations where you need that direct physical damage onto somebody, magic immunity, and then obviously having a vehicle for Life Stealer is pretty important. Here with the Juggernaut, you can be a lot more independent if you're Miracle.
Absolutely. How annoyed are Vici going to be, having done that to Liquid in game 2 of the previous series, to have it done back to them in this game? They should have seen that coming, shouldn't they?
Maybe. I think there was definitely still some options, but Juggernaut was, I think, by far the best.
Yeah.
Other than that, Vici Gaming changes for the Game 3 draft. I was trying to think about it. I thought their
Well,
draft
hold
was,
that
for the most part,
thought,
pretty
Cam.
good.
Hold that thought, because
Okay.
we're going to come back with Game 3 draft very shortly. We're headed to a break right now. If you're just joining us, you've missed some great Dota 2, but don't worry, there's still plenty more to come, because after the break, it's Game 3 in our first semi-final. Liquid versus Vici Gaming. We'll see you soon.
Slash back up in a couple of seconds. He is nearing on hitting that level 12, so ideally we'll do so before the fight kicks off, and the fight's already here. They've got the setup, the sleep, the Death Prophet exorcism coming out as well. Ice Blood thrown down straight away onto Timmerman. He's trapped there, but Miracle, he gets the chance for the Blade Fury. He's looking for the chase down onto Paparazzi. Paparazzi will fall. Miracle, he levels up the ult, jumps in with the Omni Slash, the extra bounces, getting in the kill on Ori. They've got the stop down as well. Faber will fall. Miracle will lose his life. But Liquid, they've found 4, they've got the glimpse back, they're going to 5-5. 11 tries to TP out, he's not making it home tonight, Liquid!
I do. I want to get in there.